And like I'm a pickle guy, but that sounds disgusting.
No, because it's sweet. It's sweet and salty and
But
crunchy.
Kool-Aid tastes like, what is it, like cherries? I guess if it's red Kool-Aid, what is it, cherry
Yeah, but you
Kool-Aid?
barely taste it. It just adds like a sweet flavor to it. It's not like it tastes like cherries at
All right,
all.
well, I feel like
And
I
the
have to
pickle's
try this
red.
now, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna be disappointed
Why?
because I don't because, well, it doesn't sound. Words make hard
Wow.
do good.
All right. I think we have enough. You can do the
Yeah, I
opening.
think we can. Hi,
We're good.
everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Final Podcast. I don't know what number this is anymore. I think it's 7, but who cares? Hi, Roberto.
Hi, Nick.
We wanted to talk today about our experiences on sets, the worst things we have both seen and or done on a set in Montreal, because that's something that at least stands out
Yeah.
in our
That's something. Yeah.
experiences.
That's something we can share that not everybody who's listening has ever experienced or anything. We've all fucked up at our jobs. We've all done mistakes, but some mistakes and some jobs, the consequences are greater. And sometimes when you're doing a production, when you screw up a clip, it costs money in a way, especially depending on what the clip, what the clip was or what the scene was. But we've all kind of ruined takes, I think, with either walkie-talkies or walking into frame or whatever. So we wanted to talk about that. What else did you want to talk about, Nick?
We also want to talk about Fandom, the DC event. Maybe we can gloss over that quickly because we both have some thoughts.
We both have thoughts, and we didn't want to. You brought up a good point, is that we don't want to spend the whole podcast on that because it's sort of like right now podcasts are saturated with content about
Yeah,
fandom, and I get it.
people reacting to the newest Batman trailer is a genre in and of itself. We don't need to
Easy.
get balls
I
deep
know.
into that, but
It's like I've watched two what they call them, like reaction videos of people who have not seen the Batman and who watch it, and it made me realize that I really do not I guess I don't care enough, because I smiled when I saw the trailer, but I didn't I see people like screaming and jumping and like, dude, it's just a fucking trailer, calm down, it
I mean,
looks great, but
it's just a fucking trailer for a movie that looks kind of good.
yeah.
I know
And
that
that's only
you said it looks like indie Batman, but
wait, now it's true. What's most impressive is that they've only shot like, but they don't know, but they've shot maybe 25% or
it's still just in
like
production.
a third of the movie that's been shot. So there's still like 2/3 to be shot, and it already looks that good. So
It looks like a movie in and of itself.
yeah, I really got what I meant when I said it was indie is that I felt like it was at certain point, certain shots, certain way, it felt like a fan made film, but like a really good one. But it's fine though, because I'm here for it. Like, I've had enough, I guess, I mean, Christopher Nolan was amazing. Zack Snyder is very, like I told you, I texted you, I think Zack Snyder is more of like, it's like a moving graphic novel. He's trying too much for it to be like a comic book. This felt more like it really feels like a film noir, feels like a David Fincher movie. It feels very, police and all that.
It's
So
hard
I
to
like
tell from
that.
just the trailer,
Yeah.
especially one that is so early into production,
Yeah.
but it feels less pretentious
Mm.
than a lot of what we're getting lately. Like, it's not the trailer's not trying to tell you, hey, look, this is a new version, a new reimagining, darker than ever Batman. It's kind of saying,
Yeah.
hey, look, here's our fun little Batman flick. There's duct tape on people's faces. Ooh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I was already excited by Robert Pattinson's performance. I'm
Mhm.
even more excited now, especially
Yeah.
because they kept the dark circles under his eyes for the makeup, which
Yeah,
is the first time
we all
they've
saw
done
that.
that.
Yeah, I know. We all saw it, and we all thought, some people, of course, it's become a meme, or it's become like it's been ridiculed. But I thought it's finally they've done it, because so many, like, you've seen the Batman Returns, right? At the end of Batman Returns, Michael Keaton takes his mask off, he rips it like it was made of paper, and he has no more like black eyeline shadow or whatever, and it just bugged me forever. I just couldn't. I was like, how can you do that? Like, you don't. Whatever. Just, it's fine. I prefer. I like that they kept it in there. I think it's just a small detail. I think this movie has a lot of small details that we're really going to appreciate. It really does feel kind of like Batman Year One, just the way it's the production
Well,
design,
it's because
but
it's Batman Year 2.
Yeah, exactly. So I really appreciate that, because of the graphic novels I've read of Batman, Year One is probably my favorite, one of my favorites. So I really like that. I love the casting, so good. I mean,
I'm
Gordon
still
looks
sad they
amazing.
didn't just recast Jim Carrey as the Riddler, but do like an actual dark Jim Carrey. I would have loved that. He could have nailed that sort of performance, especially
Yeah,
at his like where he is now as a performer. He could have
yeah.
absolutely done it. But Paul Dano's going to do a great job.
No, I love Paul Dano. I think he's perfect for the sort of creepy, smart killer or whatever, like mastermind. So I'm not gonna talk too much more about the Batman, apart that I'm just happy with the direction they've taken, because it just feels different. Like I texted you, different doesn't mean better or good, but it does seem like a good different, this one.
I'll say one last thing about it because I have a weird suspicion, but I don't know how to phrase it. But I know that the movie is um, still in production, right? So not everything has been shot. But I find it weird that they use dialogue lines, recorded voices from Alfred, from I can't believe I've forgotten his name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about,
Andy
Gollum.
Serkis. Andy
Thank you.
Serkis. They've used recorded audio from him, but we never see him in the trailer.
Yeah, I
I
had
find
that
that
same.
weird.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
wondering if
think.
it, how much of that is a consequence of the production, and how much is a consequence of a reveal, a potential reveal about his character of some sort.
I understand. I think maybe it's just like they just had him record a line. I think he hasn't shot anything yet, or they haven't, or they couldn't. Maybe they only shot parts of his scenes and they couldn't use the scenes or whatever. So they just had him
What are
record a
the
line in the
odds
studio.
that he recorded lines via Zoom,
Oh, that'd be
and
so
that's why
funny.
it sounds like distorted or whatever?
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that too. It's like, oh, we hear his voice. Usually in a trailer, when you hear a voice like that, you cut to that scene after,
At the very like at
So
the very
yeah,
end or something.
at
Yeah.
least, yeah. But I don't know. The this first trailer, you feel like, when you hear about it, you understand that they just took everything they had already and they edited something really good. But
With a
makes you
great music
think,
choice.
oh yeah, it makes you think that maybe in this movie they won't have the whole origin story of Batman, because in the trailer he's already there, right? But then I'm like, you don't know. Maybe the first 10 minutes of the movie will be, Robert
I don't need
Pattinson.
to see the
I hope
Waynes die
not. I
again.
know. Please don't. I
We've
know.
seen it enough. At this point, I'd rather see Uncle Ben get killed in a Batman movie than the Waynes. Like, that's where we are now.
Fucking love that. All right. So basically, both our opinions are this looks great. I think there's a lot of potential. I just need to see more, I guess.
I don't want to see more. I just want to see the movie now.
Yeah, not see more. I guess
I don't want
not.
to see another trailer.
You don't want to see trailers. I know. I kind of like seeing trailers. I don't care if I get that spoiled anything. I mean, it's fine. I've already seen enough. You know, I'm curious. I'm happy that there's no Joker. I hope there's no Joker.
Finally.
But there's, that if they do a trilogy, there's going to be a Joker. There can't
I
not
hope
be a
there
Joker.
isn't. There can not be a Joker.
Yeah,
Like,
listen, man. The people with white hair in the studios and
yeah, I
in the
know.
offices, they want a Joker.
Well, then I hope they
So,
just recast Mark Hamill to do a live action one. That's what I want.
oh, you've watched, right? The Flash on TV.
I watched enough to get to the point that you're talking about.
So Mark Hamill, right, plays the trickster.
Yeah.
Come on, it's like oh god.
I mean, it's like the best inside joke ever.
It's just, yeah, I know, but it's like I was watching going like, I hope. At first, I was like, I hope they're fucking kidding, and then I was like, okay, they're making fun of this. He's playing like a Joker, so but not,
Yeah, he's like the cheap knockoff version. Ooh, it's me, the trickster.
Yeah, I know.
I fell into a vat of Kool-Aid when I was younger, and I came out like this.
Yeah, they need to. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked the idea of having William Dafoe play.
Who now? Willem. That's right.
Dafoe. Sorry, I know. Every time I say his name, I have to like correct myself.
He's already played Green Goblin in a Joker-ish manner almost.
Oh, yeah, fuck that.
We talked about our castings for Joker. I want Andy Serkis, but now he's Alfred. Yeah, I'm hoping it's Alfred turns Joker. That's. I'm fingers crossed for that.
Yeah,
it won't happen though.
I saw someone suggested Caleb Landry Jones and he is the guy who played the movie I know him from is Get Out, and he plays the crazy brother. All right, and if you Google him and you just look at pictures of him, I could see that. I could see him be a Joker, you know?
Yeah, I sort of see the sort of hungry Daniel Radcliffe kind of vibe. I get it.
Yeah, hungry Daniel Radcliffe. That's an interesting casting. Anyway,
right.
so
We should move on from Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Batman done. I'm gonna cross that off my list. Off my list.
Take your time.
It's done. Wonder Woman. It won't be very long. The trailer underwhelmed me.
It wasn't as good as the first trailer.
But I've learned that trailers that underwhelm me sometimes it's a good thing, because not just because they sort of keep my expectations low, but also because sometimes a bad trailer is not a sign of a bad movie. It's just a sign that maybe they're trying to hide too much, or they don't want to reveal too much, or they just didn't. Sometimes movies are hard. There are companies that just do this. They just do trailers. Like, people don't know this, but the trailers are cut by an independent company that's not like that's associated to the production company, but it's like not the same editor. It's just like someone who his job is to make trailers, right? So
unless
a lot of times,
your 2016 Suicide Squad, where the trailer house also edited your movie, which is not supposed to happen.
Which shouldn't happen. So I just feel maybe they did what they could with what they had. I feel that it's fine. I mean, I don't know.
I'm just
about
glad
the
Chris
villain.
Pine is back.
Yeah, well, he's one of the only good parts of the whole trailer, you know. And maybe the villain, the guy, what's his name, who played Mandalorian. Yeah, him.
I'm also forgetting his name. Yeah.
Anyway, him. We'll remember before the end of the podcast. I like him a lot. And of course, I mean, she's great, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but underwhelmed by the whole thing.
Whelmed. You were whelmed.
I was whelmed. You know. How about you, real quick? What did you think?
Not as good as the first trailer, but the first trailer already had me hooked. I'm not worried.
Yeah, no, me neither. I'm gonna go see it. Yeah, well, go see it, or I'll see it. I don't know where, theater or at home.
Pay $30 to see it at home.
Yeah,
like Mulan.
I don't right now. The kids are at my father-in-law's, and my girlfriend and I was like, what do? We could go to the drive-through theater and see, but there's nothing good. And I was like, well, haven't theaters open? Maybe we could give it a shot. And I looked at what was playing. It was so bad. There's nothing right now. So
if Cats were still playing, I would go see it.
Oh fuck yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah, that'd be great. But no, I'm not gonna. Anyway,
do you think we get HBO Max to release the butthole cut like they did with Snyder's?
Just asshole cut. We want the asshole cut. Okay, well, talking about the Snyder cut, that's a good tie-in to the next subject. So the Snyder cut. So the trailer, which is like,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, which is like, how long is the trailer? Like, it's a long trailer.
It's like 3 minutes. Yeah.
I was gonna say almost 4 or 5.
And it's like most footage that we haven't seen yet, or that we saw in the original trailer that wasn't in the final film.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if you read that quote by Zack Snyder, but somebody asked him like if he would use any of Joss Whedon's footage in the film, and he said, I would rather burn the film to the ground before I touch a single take that Joss Whedon filmed.
Damn.
Which are strong words.
No kidding. Fuck.
Like, but a lot of actors have been like coming out sort of saying like they didn't enjoy the experience of working with Joss Whedon on the reshoots. Like the guy who plays like not Ray Parks. Is it Ray Parks who plays a cyborg? Ray Parks was sort of like supporting Zack Snyder and not so much Joss Whedon. So I think he's maybe not alone in that. I'm excited for it. Like I don't have great expectations. It'll still be a Zack Snyder Snyderism.
Well,
but I think it'll at least have more artistic value than whatever Joss Whedon pooped out.
Well, I think that to me it's just that once I watched when you rewatch The Man of Steel and then you rewatch like we did for our last podcast, let me just say completely the whole title: Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition.
Correct.
Great.
10 points.
When you watch that, you can sense, you can see, you can feel the intent that there's something
because there is
there.
One. There's
one.
An attempt.
Exactly. So you kind of see where he's going with this. The whole Barry Flash time travel thing, the warnings, the dream sequence,
all the Jesus imagery.
Yeah. The sexual tension between Batman and Superman, all that.
Do you bleed?
Do you bleed? You will. That takes on another connotation.
Yeah, let's not even go into that. That's a no-no.
So that whole so the whole, like, you feel that there's an intent, there's a purpose, there's a driving, like, line towards a third movie, right? There's going to be something in a third movie, and then Justice League happens, and you're like, no, they crapped the bed. But it's not. So you want to, like, as a film fan, as enthusiast, I want to see Zack Snyder's version of the third movie.
At the same time, though, I worry about like HBO and Zack Snyder and these people catering to like the toxic part of the fan community. That's like, that movie was absolute trash. We deserve better. Give us something better, and that they get what they asked for, which never happens. This is sort of like a weird first, right, where the fans demand something.
No, it's not Sonic. Sonic was the first.
You're right. Sonic is the first, but that was before movie release. This is after a movie has already released.
Yeah.
So I think that in that regard, it's a first.
Yeah, sure. I'm curious. I want to see it. It's worth the watch for sure. It's going to be 4 hours, 1 hour long episodes. Max. Yeah, it's fine. And I think that there's going to be. I mean, any Zack Snyder movie is fun usually. Yeah. So
you always get at least something enjoyable out of them.
Yeah, what I really would like to see is every single shot that was shot by Zack Snyder side by side with the way Josh Whedon used it, because
people are going to do those. People are going to do those breakdowns. People are already breaking down the trailers.
I know.
So it'll be done. That'll be interesting to watch.
That's true. Because I'm just to see how they like the shot of Batman on the gargoyle. In the trailer, it's like a full-on shot of him, but in the Josh Whedon cut, it's a shot of Commissioner Gordon looking up, and like there's like a sort of something hanging, like a plastic or a piece of a sheet of clothing or whatever, and then it cuts to his point of view, and you see Batman. He's out of focus because what's in focus is that sheet of paper that's flying in the wind, or the clothes, and you're like, why did he shoot it like that? It's like there's stuff like that. It's just like, why did he do that? The shot's beautiful the way it is. Like, anyway, so I'm curious I can't wait for those breakdowns.
I'm waiting for a Snyder cut, butthole cut of the Justice League.
All right, sure. That's not what would be called.
Those are my closing words.
That's not the Ultimate Edition. That's the
butt timid edition.
There you go. All right, last kind of second to the last subject would be Suicide Squad, and there are two parts to this. There's the game and there's the movie.
The game though comes out in 2 years and it's only a trailer,
so we can talk about it. I just want to say that I really liked the trailer because it was fun. The trailers were a lot of fun for the game.
I like the art style.
Yeah, me too. And I liked. Hey, is it just me, or is this like going to be the next few years of King Shark? Like he's in.
I mean, it seems like it. But I'm okay with it. He's kind of fun. He's a weird, fun character.
Yeah. DC has a lot of weird characters, I realize. More than
so does Marvel.
Yeah, but I feel that DC's is whether it's the games or even the TV or the movies, I think they're diving into the weird because of Suicide Squad. I think
they can tell that it paid off. Yeah, Suicide Squad. I mean, you look at Guardians of the if Guardians of the Galaxy can break 1 billion, anything can. If you just do it right.
Yeah. So Suicide Squad, the movie, you said that you had, so I'm going to start because you said you had a theory. So I'm going to let you
say what you have to say. Then we'll see if you already had thought of this.
Well,
which you probably have.
Well, I don't know. I when I first saw it, my first thought was it looks crazy. It looks fun. It looks it's like a mess. It really looks like a mess. I got to say.
It was an acid trip vomit.
Yeah, really. And I was wondering, and then you actually, because of you, the way you said I have a theory, then you made me start to think and reflect on what I just saw, and I realized maybe it's fake. Maybe it's like because I've seen that before. When you use footage, if you edit it right and you plan in advance to use certain footage to misdirect people. Maybe this is fake and maybe it's not at all what we expect. The characters are going to be there, I think. I think they're going to be those characters. You don't have John Cena in costume for nothing, but I don't know. There's parts of the trailer that seemed off and I don't know what it was. It's just weird because it seemed staged a lot. Like I remember real quick before you start explaining your theory, Haley Joel Osment won like best supporting actor for Sixth Sense, and he couldn't be there to have the award. So there was a video that was shot. He was saying thank you, his acceptance speech, and he was saying I can't be there because I'm on the set of this new Steven Spielberg movie, and it was AI. And if you remember AI, it's a science fiction movie. But
Yeah.
when he accepted the award, he was sitting in front of like a Western setting, and his costume was like something from like a Western movie.
Yeah, they brought him
So
to like a separate lot and just filmed on
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And it seemed like people thought, oh, this new Spielberg movie is like a Western, or it's a period piece. And then no,
Westworld is
it's
just way ahead of his time.
yeah, there you go. Exactly. So I started thinking, my theory is it's a misdirect. It's an illusion. Something's
Towards what? What do you think it's misdirecting us towards?
That's what I don't know. I feel like it was staged. It felt staged. Everything felt, I don't know. It's just, yeah. I don't know where it's going. So what's your theory? Because I think that you probably have you can develop more than I can.
Well, not so much on the staged part, but just from what we saw, because to me the blatancy of it was that they introduced like 45 characters
Yeah, a lot of
in
people are
that
going to
trailer.
die.
Well, that's exactly the thing. I think they're introducing them all in a balanced way so that nobody can figure out which ones are real and which ones are fake, in the sense that which ones are we planning to kill. Because
Yeah.
they're trying to avoid a repeat of the first Suicide Squad situation where you had these trailers that showed off all the fun characters, and oh look, there's what's his name? He's good at tying ropes and climbing stuff.
Yeah.
What's his name again? Slipknot. There you go. And then in the poster, it's like, oh look, everybody's on the poster. Why is Slipknot all alone in the corner? And in the beginning, they show like these animated fun intros for all our characters, and everybody's there except for Slipknot. And then of course Slipknot gets his head blown off immediately, and you're like, oh, that's why.
That's why.
Nobody's surprised. So I think they're doing this. They just picked a bunch of weird names, all these rando characters, gave them to Nathan Fillion and John Cena and you name it, and they're just going to kill all of them.
Oh yeah.
They're going to kill almost everyone except for like 6 of them, maybe.
Yeah.
And all the ones with like weird, like Ratcatcher 2, well, that's an actual character. They'll actually be there throughout the whole thing. John Cena's character, he's going to die immediately in like some weird, fantastical, gory, dumb way. He'll get decapitated or like shot in the face or something like this. The whole point is that they don't want us to be able to tell which ones are real and which ones are fake. Some of the big names are playing actual characters, and some of the big names are playing joke characters, and they don't want us to know which is which.
Yeah, I could see Nathan Fillion dying though. Definitely.
Yeah, like, in some weird, funny, like he's going to do like one of his weird like impressions and like super dramatic reading of his death, and like, you can see the scene in your head already.
So I see what, yeah. So I guess my inkling is basically what you had, but you know why they did it that way. So it's staged in the way that it's misdirect, where you think all these characters are important, but they're not.
Yeah,
only
all
of
them
them are going
6 or 7 of them are. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm calling it. John Cena's going to get his head exploded. I think Nathan Fillion's going to get crushed to death. I have theories about all.
I think John Cena is going to be the big baddie till the end.
Well, that would be a bit. He's already the big baddie in the next Fast and Furious movie. They can't make him big baddie in 2 movies. That's not fair.
Yeah, whatever, Nick. Yeah, I've been trying to think of movies where that's happened.
Can we do a Fast
before.
and Furious episode? Unironically,
I have never watched a Fast and Furious movie till the end.
You are missing out. They are so much fun.
I know, but it's just like there's 9 of them, Nick.
Hey, what's the worst thing you've seen on set?
Oh, here we go. Worst thing.
Don't you love my segues? Aren't they just so well done?
You are the segue master.
You and I had similar-ish sort of starts in the industry, in the sense that like we both started as like little ass PAs.
Yeah, everybody
shit
starts
jobs for shit money. Well, almost everyone, but yeah, doing shit jobs for shit money.
Come on, like who do you know? Like unless it's very rare that somebody starts out as not being a PA. Everybody does at least one day as a PA. I'm saying,
I guess
not everybody. Like I'd say 90% of people.
There you go. Unless almost everyone.
Because it's like, the thing is, unless you're okay. Let me rephrase this. You always start at the bottom. So if, let's say, your passion is costumes, let's say maybe you'll still be a PA for a day or 2, but you might also be like the fucking 3rd assistant for a wardrobe, and you are a PA by that. You know what I mean? Like you're still running around and like all you do is grab shit and give it to the people and do pickups and
Sure, but we were PAs in unit.
Yeah, which is the
The support
I mean,
department,
when you
support
talk
and
about,
logistics.
yeah, but when you talk about like hierarchy, PAs in the unit are
The
like
bottom
the
of the bottom
bottom.
of the ladder. Yeah,
That's not true. The bottom of the ladder is the extra PA.
yeah,
Now
that's true.
that's the bottom. For anybody who doesn't know, so there are different kinds of PAs. PAs is production assistant, right? So a PA, you have a set PA. It kind of says it in the title. He's the one who's on set. He's kind of like the liaison with everybody who back at the, let's say, not CCM, but like at what's it called?
The green
Fucking
room.
the green room or whatever. But anywhere, like they're on set and they have their walkie and they tell people, okay, well,
Yeah, they're the
this is
team
what's coming
leader.
up. Yeah, team leader, this is what's coming up. We're going to shoot this. We need that. Make sure to prep this. And then you have, you have your PA,
Your
your truck
backup.
PA, backup PA, or
Backup.
truck
You have
PA.
your truck
Yeah,
backup,
yeah.
and then you get into like the bottom, which is your PAs and your extra PAs.
An extra PA would be a PA that would be to guard
A parking
a
lot for
parking
12
lot
hours.
to block off a street. And I say block off a street, it's just like you stand at the end of a street for 12 hours with like a small flag and
The
like
most
a
boring
yeah.
goddamn thing in the world.
Yeah, and you can't look at your phone. You have to be on top of things. But it's so fucking boring. It's so fucking boring.
But if you
But
do it
that's how,
well, you
yeah,
get offered more fun work eventually.
you become you become a regular PA,
Who still
and
gets paid
then
as an extra PA because they
of
don't
course,
have any money.
yeah,
And then
exactly,
eventually on another show, you might get somewhere better.
and then you make your way up, and you tell people what you want to do, and sometimes they'll say, hey, you're what are you interested in? You can say, well, I'm interested in camera work, and so okay, perfect, we'll make sure, well, maybe you could be a second assistant camera, and then you're just lugging the equipment around, and then you're first assistant camera, and then cameraman, and blah blah. So it's like that's the way it works. You work your way up. So when you're a PA and you're green as hell, you either will make mistakes, or you will be a witness to mistakes made by other people. And we've all seen it. We've all done it. I think that I was trying to remember my worst sort of mistakes or just awkward moments or moments that I ruined a take. And it was hard to remember the worst things I've seen on set. I think I remember an embarrassing moment, which is not bad at all. But when you're a PA and you're like an extra PA or whatever, you don't have many responsibilities except maybe empty trash bags, make sure that you carry things around, and you make sure that everybody has what they need. And one of the only jobs you can do is maybe go get coffee for the crew. That's like, ooh, I have a special job. So you run around with your little maybe a
You get a
notebook,
tray if you're lucky.
like a notebook with a
Yeah.
pen, and you go ask people like, what do you want? I'd
How
like
many sugars? How much milk?
yeah. What do you want? I'm going to Starbucks. What do you want? So I did my rounds, and I asked everybody what they wanted, and I went to Starbucks, and we were shooting at a house, and I parked the car, and I have like these 2 trays. I have like 9 coffees, right? And I walk up the stairs to the house, and I trip, and all the coffees in front of everybody, right? And like and my unit manager looks at me and goes like, are you but he's like, are you fucking kidding me? But not like, I can't believe you fucked up. More like, oh shit, I feel your pain, dude. Because I had to go see the production manager who had told me to go get coffee, and ask her. I was like, I dropped the coffees. She's like, what? I dropped the coffees. And then she's like, are you fucking kidding? I was like, no, I dropped the coffees. And but of course she was pissed, but shit happens. And it's like, coffees cost $30, so another $30. But money is very important. It's so like $60 for coffees basically, right? So I had to go back and I got the coffees again, and I didn't drop them this time. But I remember that moment of like, I just want to crawl under a rock. I dropped the coffees. I mean, that's all I had to do today. That's my special task today, was fucking bring coffees, and I dropped them. So that's one moment. I have other ones, but I'll let you tell one.
I mean, I was lucky not to have any sort of embarrassing. Like, I've never had a fuck up as a PA. I fucked up in my later jobs that are more, responsibility wise. But as a PA, I never really fucked up. I've had like terrible days, as we've all had. My first gig, you remember, was with you. I was watching a parking lot for 12 hours, almost straight,
I
for a
felt
whole
so
day.
bad. I felt so bad because I was like, I kept telling people like, I know this guy who wants to be a PA. He'd be great. Nah, nah, nah. And then I finally call you. I'm like, hey, I have a job for you. And you're like, yeah, sure. Like you're so like you wanted it so bad. Like I wanted it so bad when I started. And the thing is, when you start out, you will watch the fuck out of that parking lot.
I watched the fuck out of that parking lot. I was so goddamn deer in the headlights that whole day.
Yeah.
People would come up and say like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, do you want to take a break or something?" I was like, "No, I'm fine. I'm doing well. I am at my
Yeah.
post. I am
I know.
guarding this parking lot with my life."
I did the same when I started. I mean, it's like I did the same. I worked till like 2 a.m. one day, and then because I worked in the office and on the set, worked till 2 a.m. And then I was at work at 9 a.m, and they all looked at me like, "The fuck are you doing here? You finished at like 2 a.m." I was like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, I have to work. I have to be at the office." And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine." You're like, you do it. You fucking do it because you're so replaceable when you're a PA.
Oh yeah.
You know, I could have had a monkey look at that parking lot and, done the surveillance. It would
Having
have been
worked in
fine.
restaurants, my comparison is often like PAs are like the dishwashers of a set,
Yeah.
where they are absolutely essential to
Yeah.
the functioning of a restaurant.
Yes.
And anybody can wash dishes, but not everybody can do it well and do it quickly.
Yeah.
So it's very similar in the sense that like, yeah, you could find any PA and they probably would be able to do the job, but the ones that do well generally don't stay PAs very long.
Yeah.
PAs who do well, like a dishwasher that does well, will go into prep and then we'll start cooking eventually. That's usually what
Mhm.
happens. And same thing with PAs. Good PAs don't stay PAs for long.
And you can always tell when unit is just like really good on the ball all the time, and they're they're proactive and all that, because there's nothing worse than a unit that is always
Complacent and
reacting,
apathetic and
and
yeah.
like you're always reacting and always kind of late. I have had a PA on the set not too long ago that I realized that he is not a PA. Usually he works at in set decoration. He's like he's not the one he's a tech decor in French. So he's like,
Mhm.
a guy that who lugs around the stuff and who sets up the all the set dressing. And he's now a PA because there's no work, right? He's fine, but he's not a good PA. Like he helps the grip and the gaffer a lot to lug the equipment, and I have to ask him to help me out with my gear because he's not a PA. He doesn't understand what he has to do, of like setting up, arriving and making sure that everything is set up properly and helping me set it up. I have to tell him what to do. So that's not a good PA. He's fine. He works hard, but I always have to tell him what to do. So to me, that's not a good PA.
No, PA should,
Yeah.
unless you're green.
No, but
Eventually,
he's
you
not
learn
green.
what to
Yeah.
expect. Like after you've set up 3 craft tables in the morning,
Yeah.
well, on day 4, you're like, okay, I should probably set up a craft table. I should probably plug in the coffee machine. Like I've been doing it for 3 days straight. I should probably
Yeah.
do it for the 4th day now.
And that's what I mean, is that a good unit, it will, like, you'll show up and like everything's like already set up. It's set up in a logistical, like a smart way, where it's like you're not like, you don't look at it set up and go, well, that's going to be in the way all day. It's there like that. I'm gonna need to move that, or that, everything's plugged in the same, like the coffee machine and the toaster are plugged in the same thing or whatever, the same power outlet.
Here's the thing, though. The issue with having a good unit is that eventually the team might notice and they might go, "Oh, we have a good unit department. We'll
Yeah.
just let them do our jobs for us, and we'll abuse them, and we'll be rude to them."
Yeah.
Last summer, when I was working as an assistant unit manager on a 40-day summer shoot on a show,
Yeah.
what started happening is that the director's crew, so the director, the first AD, and like their little buddy actors or whatever, would just wouldn't clean their tables after lunch hour. They just leave plates, utensils, soda cans, Kleenexes, and uneaten food just kind of lying there on the table, and would just leave. And I have a
Yeah.
very low tolerance for this sort of rudeness is something that I have a very low tolerance for. That gets me mad real fast. And so I start taking initiative. I take pictures, and I'm about to send a picture as an email to the entire crew with the word unacceptable in the email. And that's it. And I'm writing this email, and my boss, who walks up to me and goes like, "Hey, Nick, yeah, you can't do that.
Mm.
I'm not gonna let you do that." And I looked at him, I was like, "Seriously? Like, just let me have this. I want to do it." And he said, "I'm sorry, but I just cannot." So I compromised, and instead of cleaning up the table, I just put 4 huge cones all around the table on the table. I printed out 20 papers that read, "Please pick up utensils and plates after finished eating." Because this place we were shooting there for 2 weeks. It was like a big cafeteria, and the big cafeteria was right next to our office space. So everybody who goes to the office sees this cafeteria. They walk through the cafeteria. I put papers on every single table saying, "Please pick up your utensils and your plates after lunch." And then I went to the set. We're filming in a monastère in Oka. I went
Oh
to
yeah, I
the
know that place. Yeah.
I went to the crypt where they were filming, down in the dark, dark basement. I taped papers to every wall on the set, and I taped one right underneath the monitor. Right underneath the director's monitor, just taped a big paper that says, "Please pick up utensils and plates after lunch." And we didn't really have many issues after that. Because
It's fantastic.
I think they got the message. I think they understood what I was going for.
I think they did. That's good. That's
Productive passive aggressivity. It works.
Fuck, man. They must have thought that the worst thing is they must have thought that you were the asshole. You know what I mean? These people usually. No, but I'm saying
if they think that I'm the asshole, but they still clean their plates, that is a victory in my book.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, but I'm just saying, like, these were like, "Can you believe you did this?" Like, fuck it, fine, we'll pick it up. You know, but I'm sort of like, I'm second guessing their intentions, so I won't do that. That's actually a pretty good story. I guess my one of my best stories is, and I've told you this, but so again, I'm super green. Just started working as like I said, as a production assistant, but also working in the office. So basically, they have me do whatever. So right now I'm a production manager, so I understand why production managers saw this as an opportunity. So I remember this guy named Guinness, really sweet guy, and so Guinness is a production manager, and we meet for the first time, and people explain, like, I tell him what I do. I'm just here to help, whatever you need. And so he grabs me and he's like, "Hey, would you like to go on a shoot in the state of New York?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, anytime. Go on a shoot." Yeah, he said, "It'd be you, it'd be the director, and it'd be the DOP." I'm like, "Oh man, that sounds amazing. I want to be like with the director and the DOP." Like, you were like going crazy. Like, oh shit,
I'm
yeah.
seeing your red flags.
I know, right? And so I don't ask questions.
It sounds like a human trafficking operation.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't ask any questions. I'm super green. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. And then, he kind of, he kind of just says it real quick. He's like, "Yeah, so, you'd be taking sound and like having people sign releases and blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, whatever. I don't know what he's talking about. I know what taking sound is, but like, I don't
yikes.
So it basically, now I realize that what they wanted me to do was basically be an AD, be a driver, be a production assistant, be a sound man,
be a coordinator,
be a data wrangler. Because I was
damn.
So I was gonna. People who don't know what a data wrangler is, it's just basically that at the end of the day, or at the end of when they were done shooting with the card, you take the card and you download the footage onto a computer, and sometimes if you have enough time, you can convert it so that it's ready to be edited or whatever. So it's the person who, it says it, a data wrangler. He manages all the footage, the data that comes from the cameras, from the sound, from this, from that. So I don't know what half of this is, and they explain it to me, and he says like, "Well, so you're going to be a data wrangler." I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Well, you're going to transfer the cards at the end of the day onto the computer. So we're going to give you a computer, a card reader, and you're going to go see Lisa at post-production. She's going to explain to you how you're going to manage the files and in what order and the workflow and blah, blah, how you're going to name every clip and no. So I go see her, and she I've never done this before, and she sits me down in front of the computer, and I've never worked with any of this software, and she explains to me how to copy a card and how to make do the converting and whatever. Fine, okay, I'll manage. And then Guinness tells me, "So before you guys leave, you're driving there. Before you leave, like the day that you leave, we're gonna have a sound man explain to you how to work the boom and everything." So basically, I had this guy explain to me in 10 minutes, barely, how to operate a boom, how to set up a lavalier mic, and how to.
I was gonna ask, was it just the boom feeding into the camera, or did you have a console and lavalier mics as well?
I had a console.
God damn.
But the mics were also like plugged in directly to the camera. All right.
That is
So
nuts.
you think? You think? This is 2 weeks after I start working there. Okay.
That
I
is
have
abuse.
I have stories, my friend, and I was paid like by the week. I was paid by like $525
For full-time work?
for full time. I was on sets. I
That's
worked.
actually disgusting, though.
It is, of course it is, but that's the way. So $525. That's like $105 a day, and I worked sometimes 18-hour days, and I would still come into the office the next day. The first thing they had me do was they wanted me to. They had an old pickup truck, or not a pickup. It's a Yukon, so it's a huge truck. They wanted to sell it, okay, because they didn't need it anymore. They bought it because they were doing a production that was like in the woods. And so they said, we're gonna have you, like, we have a laptop for you, and we're gonna have you try to sell it. Can you do that? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Whatever you need me to do, I don't mind. So they say, we don't have an office for you because like this is a small house, like it was a house basically, and they rented out the house. And so they said, look, we have this small space for you. I'm like, fine. The
It was a
space
closet under the stairs, wasn't
was a closet. No, Nick.
it?
Are you ready for this? Was the closet in the office of someone else. So, and the only thing separating me from the other, just don't laugh. The only thing separating me
Fucking, they hired Harry Potter over here.
from the other person who was like head of accounting or whatever was a flimsy door of like,
One of those folding doors.
yeah, folding doors. You could hear everything, and I was like trying to not tap on my keyboard too hard because I was like, I could hear her. I couldn't make calls. I was like, what am I doing in this fucking closet? But like, I'm fine.
Was your desk
Like,
an upside down bucket?
I think I had a desk. I don't remember, Nick.
Was it a school desk? What else can you fit in a closet?
I don't know, man. It was a big closet.
Oh, okay, that's okay then.
but
That's actual abuse.
I just remember that, but it didn't take much time before, because it's inside of the laptop. I just ended up going somewhere else in the kitchen or whatever. And just to think that today I would, someone would ask me this, I'd be like, fuck you. What are you talking about? So to go back to the whole.
Thank God for the Exis. Am I right?
Oh yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. In this particular situation. Yeah. Thank God to the Axis. Okay. So to get back to the story of the shoot in New York. So of course he also said, you want to shoot in New York. I thought we were going to New York, like Manhattan. No. We were upstate New York, like woods.
Boring New York.
Yeah. Boring New York. Yeah, it's like Vermont almost, basically, which is fine.
Don't insult Vermont is great. Don't insult Vermont.
No, but I mean, like, in the sense that it's when you're in the woods of upstate New York, there's not much of a difference between Vermont and New York, right? So I'm the one who has to drive there. So we drive it's like a, I don't know, 8 to 9 hour drive, right? And which was great because I did get to talk a lot with the director and the DOP, and we actually became, work friends in the sense that I really connected with them. So we drive down to New York, and we're doing a show called I know the French title because it was translated into French, but it was like weird constructions or whatever. So it's basically a show about people who built unusual things, whether it's buildings, houses, statues, or whatever. So the thing that we were shooting was a guy built a castle. He started in 1970, and he built a castle all from recycled material. His castle is like, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen personally with my own eyes.
Like how big of a castle?
It's a castle. I mean, it's pretty big. Like I mean, it's like a mansion, but it's just
like a lord's estate or like a duke's estate.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, when you go to those rich neighborhoods, how big the houses are. It was that big, but it was designed to look like it was made of stone. There are parts of a bridge that was in it. Like he reused the inside of a boat to design one of his rooms.
That's pretty cool.
So it's really, really interesting. And the guy was super fun to interview. Anyway, so I'm doing sound, remember? I'm doing sound. So we start this very long take where there's this main section of his house/castle, and he walks us through this huge long part of his house. And so it's a long take where he's explaining every piece. Like, this is part of a bridge that they tore down that I went to get the material. This is part of a church. This is part of a boat. This is something I designed. No. It's long. It's like 5-6 minutes, right? I'm on the boom. and everything is recorded through the camera. Even though I have a console, there's no card. Like, it's just feeding the camera. And so I realize that about 3/4 of the way into his whole big interview showing everything, I realize I am not plugged into the camera. So there is no sound going to the camera.
Wait, was your console was not recording?
No, there's no, it's like the console was only
There
to
was
mix
no
everything, and
There's no
everything
memory
then,
card in there.
no, like the memory card, it was connected, everything was connected to the
boy.
camera. It's only like a mixer. It's just to make sure that all the volumes are good. And then everything is plugged into the camera and it records onto the camera.
Yikes.
And so I realized that I am not recording. And so I have this moment where I almost have like cold sweats, and I have a chill, and I realize I have to stop. I have to tell everybody. I have to say, hey, I'm not plugged in. So there's
I can't believe the DOP wouldn't check for that. Wouldn't like
dude, it's
flag that.
This was a company that you worked for. Do you remember? Yes.
I remember this company.
Yes, there you go. Before it was bought out by this other company. And so it's very hard to concentrate with your cat like walking across your shoulders.
Look, it's either him walking on my shoulders or him walking on my keyboard and chewing my microphone cable. So this is really the better option of the two.
All right. So yeah, so I realized that I'm not plugged in, and so I have to tap on either my I don't remember, it's either my director or my DOP, and I tap on his shoulder, and I'm like, I'm not plugged in. And he goes like, what? And I'm not plugged in. And it just became a joke, which is great. Everybody started laughing. The director, Sid, he's just like, I can't believe, all right, again. And I started laughing, and it became the running gag of the running joke of the whole rest of the week of like, are you plugged in? Are you plugged in? And I was like, yeah, but it's just that moment of like, I have to stop the take. I ruined the take. And so that was one of my biggest screw ups as a green PA who was also sound, also coordinator, also data wrangling. I would work, get up in the morning, we'd shoot for like 10 hours or 11 hours. I'd get to the hotel room, and then I would work because I needed to do the data wrangling, which took hours.
Which takes time. It takes so much time.
It took me hours because I had to make sure the cards were copied. And so I would sometimes I went to bed with copying cards, put an alarm on my phone, woke up 3 hours later, checked, transferred other cards, went to bed, put another alarm. So I slept like every 3 hours I would wake up and check if the cards were transferred. So that is like, I have so many I realize now that I have so many stories about my start in this industry and how I was abused. I drove people to Toronto, and I drove a crew to Toronto, and I dropped them off at a hotel. And the deal was I was going to drive back the next day to help them set up. I would help them set up. And then I realized my hotel room was not in the same hotel as them. It was outside of Toronto, a cheaper hotel. And the excuse was so that I wouldn't get traffic when I would leave the next morning.
That's so fucking stupid.
So I drop off this whole crew that and I help them at this nice hotel in downtown Toronto where they're saying like, oh, we're going to go drink at a bar and we're going to have some fun. And I'm like, no, I have to drive another hour outside of Toronto to get to my hotel, which is a crappy like Motel 66,
I cannot believe that.
Things like that, man. The closet,
I mean, abuse. I've had abuse. Nothing. I think that's as bad as that, in the sense that like that sounds like just intentional people being assholes. But like one of my first things that I did when I started working was I did a 4-day week, and each day was over 18 hours, and it was 4 days in a row. And that like 4 days in a row of 18 hours is not the best. You kind of don't feel much of anything on like the fourth day. You're just kind of a zombie going through the motions. And this company is a company that I've talked about this before. I'm not going to name them, but I've talked to you about this company before that I don't work for anymore. And that I intentionally, like, they've probably texted me like 40 times this year. And I always said like, oh no, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I can't, not available. Whoopsie. Because they abuse PAs, and like they are known for abusing PAs. I know several people who don't work with them anymore because they abuse PAs. Whether it was like the 4-day, 18-hour fucking nonsense blitz. One time they sent me to do pickups one day on my own. They gave me this 20-footer truck and said, you got a bunch of pickups to do today. One of them was I went to, not Mel's, the other one, Cinepool,
Yeah.
to load a full truck of grip equipment, a full 20-foot truck, packed floor to ceiling, wall to wall, with like 20 mumbo combos, like 30 stands, 40 C stands, like you name it. It was packed to the brim, and I was loading it on my own.
Yeah, I've done that.
And
That's
the,
fun.
the person who's in charge of me like texts me. She's like, "So how much longer do you think it'll be at Cinepool?" And I'm like, "I've been here for 20 minutes. Like, this is gonna take an hour and a half." She's like, "What? Really? How come it's so long?" And I'm like, I text her a photo of the massive amount of stuff I have to load, and I'm like, "This takes an hour and a half to load securely. Like, if you only load it in 30 minutes, I'll do it, but the truck's gonna crash, and I'm gonna break all the equipment. If you want it secured and zipped, like tied down with ratchet straps, and safe and balanced on both sides, so I don't like trip the truck over turning on a highway, it's gonna take an hour and a half, and it's gonna take an hour and a half to unload too." And she couldn't believe me when I told her that. And so I drive to this place where I'm unloading it, and I unload it. And you know me, I'm not going to just throw the C stands on the ground and just leave them. Like, I put everything in a nice, neat line. It was organized. It was beautiful. And I had a not a ramp like diagonal, but a mulchage, like a lift ramp on the back of the truck for these, these massive box cases for like concert, like the concert
tailgate.
cases.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The tailgate thing that go up
A
and
tailgate,
down.
exactly. There you go. Thank you, a tailgate. And so, like, going down with one box, rolling it away, going up, going down with like, it takes time. And she, like, it blew her mind. And this is the same person who, like, the same day sent me to pick up 3 huge sheets of 1-inch thick plexiglass. You ever lifted large sheets of 1-inch thick plexiglass?
Oh, yeah,
It's heavy. 3 of them weigh really, really quite a lot. And so when they load it into the truck, it's with a forklift, and I'm expected to unload this on my own with no ramp and no tailgate. And I was like, how do this with no brake, How do this? Luckily, at the place where the same studio where I unloaded, there was like 2 guys, like DAs, working on building a set, and they had a forklift, so they helped me. But it was one guy on the forklift and 2 of us holding it so it wouldn't fall off the forklift. I almost broke my goddamn back trying to like almost carry this thing to bring it down safely. It's insane. And they would just constantly, this same company, they made me once work in like, they had to build an apartment set inside a studio. And so I was like putting up walls and nailing bits of like wooden pieces together to make these fake walls, and working until like 1 a.m. because they had no DA. They hired PAs to work as builders to build this set. And I was like, they had like this one constructor guy who was there, and he kept shitting on us and saying, "Oh, like, your walls are crooked. Like, what the fuck is this?" And I'm like, it's 1 a.m. I'm a fucking PA. I don't know how to build walls or nail wood together. I don't know what I'm doing. Why are you bitching at me?
How did you not quit? How did you not? I think
eventually I did.
Yeah.
That was that thing was the breaking point. That wooden building shit. That was when I stopped. I couldn't take it anymore.
To sort of close out the episode, because we're about an hour in, I think that we've all had breaking points, and we've learned so much. Like, when I think back to the fact that I started in a freaking closet with a laptop trying to sell a truck, that's what I started doing. And then I did sound and I did, but it also, that's the thing, is you need to do these things because you need to learn. But then you get a breaking point because you realize what you're worth, or at least what you are capable of.
Yeah,
right?
You can do better.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I remember, like, there's good parts to this. I mean, I remember talking to a production manager after a few years working at this company where I was still basically a PA, but I was doing everything except that. I was doing so many things. I wasn't being paid much more anyway. But there's a production manager who told me, she was like, "You're worth way more than this. Like, you have to leave." And when people say that, you kind of, they make you realize sometimes that, okay, yeah, I know I can do better. I know I'm worth more than this. So, because it's hard to take a leap sometimes, to just stop doing what you're doing because you're used to it. And you there's a point where, like I said, there's a breaking point. And now I think back, and someone who would ask me to do anything that you just explained, I would tell them to fuck off. I'd be like, "Are you kidding me?"
See, now I can, which is why now I tell them I'm not available.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's just, we've all had that moment where we kind of go, "I'm never doing this again." Like, I'm trying to think what my breaking point was. I think I think the breaking point, what happened to me was that um, they, I was sort of like, everybody liked me in the office and they all knew that they could count on me. But that was only the people in the office. That was the production managers. That was the coordinators, but then the people higher up, like, the main producer and the president of the company, they like, I didn't exist to them. Like, I remember there were days where I would drive in a van. There were days I would stay in my van and read a book and wait for them to call me, and they would never call me. So all I did for days on days would basically read a book in my van. And that to me was actually a breaking point, because I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I should be. What's going on, Nick? You're
Okay,
moving everything from the left side to
I've
the
had
right
to,
side.
yes,
What is going on?
my cat is pawing at my things, trying to knock them off the table. I've had to move everything from one side of the desk to the other. Now he's on the other side of the desk, pawing off the things again. He keeps digging his paw into my water bottle, trying to get to the water.
All I keep seeing is like you passing things from the right side of the screen to the left side, and then like left side to the right side to the left side.
This man is called war criminal for a reason, okay? He's been
What's
accused
his real
of many
name?
crimes. His name is literally war criminal.
His name is War Criminal?
His legal name is war criminal. We call him Crim. But when
Well, that's why you call him Crim. Oh.
Yeah. But it's always funny when the vet calls, I'm like, hi, this is to confirm the appointment for war criminal. You can hear them like laughing because that's what it says on his like official documentation.
Oh God, that's great.
That company that made me build their
criminal.
stupid walls took them 3 months to pay me after that, and they owed me $1,600.
That is the worst.
And that was my breaking point.
That is the thing I hate the most about. The thing I hate the most about this industry is that they can actually fucking do that. Is that sometimes I read about people tell me, yeah, how long is it going to take till I get I get my checks? And I'm like, well, I think about it a bit. I'm like, well, it should be about 3 weeks, because we're Friday, and they're like, oh, 3 weeks, good. I'm like, yeah, 3 weeks is the max. They shouldn't be more than that. It shouldn't take more than 2 weeks and a half. And they're like, oh yeah, 'cause some companies take like a month. I'm like,
Well, see,
a month?
This company has no cash flow. They're known to not have any cash flow. And I texted the woman. I was like, hey, I haven't been paid yet. What's up with that? She's like, oh yeah, we'll send it out soon. Sorry, it's a bit of a mistake. And I'm like, but how come the other PA got paid already? I texted him. He was like, oh, well, he asked us if he could pay him sooner because he needs some cash for the holidays. And I'm like,
What?
And I don't. Like, hello. And I'm of the mentality of like, don't burn bridges you don't have to. So I just answered, because I didn't know what else to say to that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say to that? Like, oh, I don't have bills to pay. Like, what fuck do you mean? Can I blitz through like my list that I had here of other things that I just want to mention about
We've
sets?
been talking for an hour, and you want to
I've got a 3-minute blitz for you.
Okay, blitz. Okay, good.
Okay, director who was on set in flip flops. This is the same man who told his personal assistant, who was also his daughter, to call someone FaceTime, no video, which there's a word for that, and it's phone call.
Yeah, but maybe he wanted to use like Wi-Fi to do the call.
That's what I figured afterwards, but I'm still going to mock him because just say call him in Wi-Fi. A costume stylist who wore heels on set always, which is just a no-no.
Heels on set.
Heels on set.
Yeah,
I got a car stuck on a road because I drove to set in the middle of the night. I had to drive through a road going through a field in the winter, and at night I drove too far to the right and the wheel got into the emptiness. So the car was stuck less than a mile from the location. So we had to drive all the camera equipment in a van and get CAA to come pull me. That was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I got COVID on set because the company, like, some actor had traveled and the company just never told us. So
I didn't know that I didn't know that was happened.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool, right? That's like a cool hip thing to do, right? It's just not tell the production staff that somebody traveled overseas. That's a cool, fun hip thing to do.
You guys should fucking sue them.
Don't even get me started.
Shit, the grip or was it a grip or a gaffer who went to the hospital?
It was a gaffer.
Fuck, man, come on. He should. Yeah, that's wrong.
I know.
There should be legal action.
There should be. Yeah, that's probably a thing. Director stealing my pizza that I saved for myself. Yeah, that's the whole story in and of itself. And I really wanted to get to this story. I'll tell it in like a real quick blitz. But one time it was my job to order catering for the production, and we were shooting at this place where you had to use their in-house catering that they had.
Yeah.
And my boss told me, like, yeah, just send them the list for the allergies. They know that they have to cater for us. Just send them our allergies and tolerances list. And I was like, oh, cool. And I emailed them. I think it's supposed to have been like Friday, and we were shooting there on Monday. I emailed them like, hey, so just to confirm that we're going to be there on Monday at this time, here's our intolerance list. Thank you very much. I get an email Saturday morning. Hi, so we never got any requests for catering, so we'll consider that you don't need any catering on Monday. Have a good day. And I just go, huh? Did you just tell me that I have no catering for 60 people on Monday? Hello? I spend the weekend just desperately trying to talk to this fucking company to get some goddamn catering for the crew. And finally, on Monday, half an hour late, everybody has food. And the production manager comes to me, he's like, so how come it was late? Like, that's kind of like, what's up with that? Why was it so late? And I'm like, oh, we had a miscommunication. It's all handled. It won't happen again. Meanwhile, the chef downstairs is like trying to find food somewhere to cook for us and like figuring out the allergies despite all of that. And I never
Oh
spent a
God.
weekend being so stressed in my
Yeah,
life.
that is horrible.
That was anxiety inducing,
I have a
but it was
one.
solved.
I have a quick story as well. I worked on a pilot or for a show, or I think it went into production anyway. This director, one of the worst directors I've ever worked with, he thought he was God. You know, the God complex for certain directors. Like, he once told me, like, I was with him working just to do like some beauty role, and I was with him and a DOP, and we go into a coffee shop next to Concordia, and I try to talk to the people because he wants to shoot in the coffee. And when we exit, he just tells me, like, listen, man, I appreciate what you're doing, but don't ever, like, don't just let me talk. Don't talk, because I get what I want. And you're like, okay,
Yikes.
okay, okay. So
Yikes.
we're shooting in his house, because he has like a studio in his
Because he
house,
gets
right?
what he wants, yeah.
Yeah. So we're shooting in his house, and so we're doing is basically, the show is about different inventions that people created that made them millionaires with like really simple ideas, like the guy who invented the I don't know what, the sleeve that you put for your coffee
Yeah,
a coffee
yeah, yeah.
cup, yeah, the cardboard sleeve. Well, someone invented that, you know. Well, he became a millionaire, right? So ideas like that. So we're in his studio, and we're doing is basically we have different people come in to like to be like, either be like the guy who invents it, or like just to recreate events, right? And so
Like
I'm reading
reenactments.
reenactments. I'm reading the call sheet, and I'm reading the events, and I'm like, okay, we did this, we did like the guy who invented like the sort of this toy, the woman who invented this, and then I realized that there's one of the things where it's like, so the guy who invented the sleeve for the coffee, he drops the coffee on himself, right? And I look at everything, and I'm like, there's nobody to do this. There's who's going to do this, right? And I mean,
Oh.
yeah. So, you know,
Oh.
at a certain point, you understand how things go. So I asked the director, I'm like, so who's doing this? Like, who's the actor? Who's the person? Because there's nobody else on the list. Like, we're not expecting anybody. And he's like, I wanted to tell you, I've been meaning to. We need to be you that drops the coffee on himself. And I'm like, because I didn't know. I have my clothes, my personal clothes. I do not have a change of clothes. He's like, it doesn't matter. I'll give you one of my shirts. Um, I'm maybe like 60 pounds fatter than you. Fat. It's not bulk. I'm fatter than you, buddy.
You're big boned.
Fuck it. No, I got fat around my bones, right? I'm like, so basically, I had to drop. I did it
You
because,
did it.
well,
I
wait,
would
what do
have
you
said no.
want?
I would have said no.
I called the producer, and I said, I have to drop coffee on myself. I have no change of clothes. I told her, you're gonna buy me a new shirt. And she said, yeah, okay, no problem. Okay. And that was it. There was
At
no
least
like,
it wasn't hot coffee.
no, it was like,
Thank goodness.
room temperature coffee, right?
Okay.
Doesn't matter. I had to drop coffee on
No, I
myself,
know, but
Nick.
I mean, he could have asked you like, oh, like, can it be burning for the special, so that it looks as better. Like he could have been that kind of guy.
I had to. I'm sorry if I'm laughing. My girlfriend's doing stupid. Yeah, she just gave me the finger because that's stupid. She's doing the smagri. She's doing like she's pretending I'm dropping coffee on myself, but I'm doing it in a sexy way. It was not in a sexy way, all right? It was a very clumsy, and it was also very clumsy, and it was a one take.
Did you then rip your shirt open and then?
Yes,
sort
I
of
ripped my shirt open.
kind of
Yeah,
chest
and I
coffee
played. I
reveal?
played with my fat belly.
There you go.
And it was a one take thing. I only had one pair of jeans and one shirt. And I had to drop coffee on myself, and I did it. And then I had to go home wearing the director's white shirt that just was so tight that just made me feel so bad because I was like, this looks horrible on me. And it's just, that was like, it wasn't even a breaking point yet. Imagine that.
It's stronger than I am.
It was close to being one.
And you thought we wouldn't have enough content for this episode.
It's crazy because as I'm talking, I'm thinking
You
of
start
so
remembering,
many
right?
other moments where I was taken advantage of.
Maybe we could do like a special like one story a week or like one story an episode kind of thing where we just tell like one story of
try.
abuse on
Oh
set.
God, so
'Cause I have
many,
so many more.
so many. But then I'm a production manager. You're a chargé de projet, so you're basically like a production manager, but without the
Chargé de
budget.
production. Excusez-moi. Chargé de
Yeah.
production. It says production manager on the website, so that's what I am.
Yeah.
Just a different kind of production manager that doesn't touch the budget because he doesn't want to.
Yeah. Well, eventually you'll probably have to.
I know. I'm being told that I will learn to do it eventually, but I hate managing money. I'm so bad.
Yeah, but you get used to it. All right. I guess that's it for today because we can't. Even though I could go for another half hour, just telling my moments that I dropped coffee on myself. Dropped coffee.
We're gonna get back to these stories. We're gonna tell more of these.
So 2 stories about dropping coffee. I realize now.
Yeah, that might be a
Yeah.
pattern, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for listening, everybody, or not, or just whatever.
The classic is we say thanks for listening, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Nick's mom, and thanks, Pat, for listening.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Now you nailed it.
We got 2 people. We know 2 people who listen to this podcast.
And that's our episode.